The digital notification that shattered my 23-year marriage arrived precisely at 2 in the morning on a rainy Tuesday. It was not from some random online solicitor or a robotic spam number. The devastating words on the glowing screen came directly from my husband, Darren. He wrote that he had departed forever with my lifelong companion, Cassandra, and warned me not to pursue them. Beneath the brief text was a brightly lit photograph of the two of them celebrating on a sunlit beach with champagne glasses raised high. They looked as if they had just inherited a vast fortune. I stared at their joyful expressions for several long moments before typing a reply consisting of only two simple words, wishing them good luck. After that, I immediately initiated a complete security lockdown of my life. My name is Audrey Vance, and I was a 46-year-old senior forensic accountant who found absolute comfort in solid numbers. For decades, I managed every single utility bill, mortgage document, and retirement calculation for our household. My husband Darren operated a small cabinetry business that had faced major economic difficulties over the previous years. But I foolishly assumed we were surviving those challenges as a united couple. My closest confidant, Cassandra, had been my sister in spirit since our early university semesters. She attended every family celebration and held my hand through the painful passing of my father. Her complete betrayal cut deeper than any physical wound could ever reach. To check the damage, I accessed my financial dashboard and felt an icy wave of panic wash over my entire body. The lavish seaside resort, expensive steak dinners, premium flights, and a luxury boat rental had all been billed to accounts in my name. Many years prior, I had designated Cassandra as an authorized user for urgent situations when she was stranded during a trip. I completely overlooked removing her card privileges because I trusted her with my life, but that old negligence was now funding their secret getaway. I did not shed a single tear as I systematically canceled every authorized credit card. I updated every digital security credential protecting my retirement funds and called an emergency locksmith to replace every exterior deadbolt before the sun began to rise. I was determined to secure my perimeter before the reality of their massive deception could fully register in my mind. Heavy pounding on my front door disrupted the early morning silence. I expected to find Darren demanding entry, but instead, two local police officers stood on my porch, explaining they were responding to a domestic lockout report. My husband had claimed that I was holding his personal funds hostage and denying him access to his legal residence. I politely invited the officers inside to review the facts. I walked directly to my home office and returned with official property deeds and bank certification papers. The legal records clearly demonstrated that the property belonged solely to me prior to our marriage, and Darren was merely an authorized user on the accounts. I calmly handed my cellular phone to the lead officer so he could read the farewell message and view the beach photograph. The officers exchanged a quiet look of mutual understanding after reading the message. They admitted that Darren had neglected to mention his sudden departure with another woman when filing his complaint. They advised me to contact emergency services immediately if he attempted to breach the new locks. Once the authorities departed, a lingering suspicion compelled me to analyze our digital transaction history. My professional accounting training immediately detected a highly unusual sequence of outbound electronic transfers. Significant sums of money had been silently departing my primary reserve accounts for over 12 months. The transactions were carefully hidden within routine business payments to look like standard operational costs. When I calculated the final sum, the total unauthorized withdrawals reached nearly $40,000. That very afternoon, I contacted my trusted college companion and seasoned asset attorney, Eleanor Finch. She arrived at my residence with a thick legal notepad and focused entirely on the emerging evidence rather than offering empty, comforting words. Together, we worked through the night, tracing the digital destination of every single transfer until we uncovered a highly sophisticated secondary life. We discovered that my hard-earned savings had paid the lease for an upscale downtown apartment, premium insurance policies, and a brand-new utility vehicle. The entire residential lease was registered under the name of Cassandra, but every transaction originated directly from my personal funds. What had initially seemed like a sudden romantic escape was actually a calculated, long-term plan of financial exploitation. The most alarming discovery occurred when the bank provided our electronic authorization records. Every transaction bore a digital replica of my personal signature, but the secure login data pointed to the office desktop of Darren. My husband had secretly duplicated my digital signature file to authorize large transactions without my consent. Eleanor quietly closed her files and declared that this was a serious criminal matter. 2 days later, a yellow taxicab pulled up to my curb while I was working in the garden. Darren emerged from the vehicle looking exhausted, disheveled, and completely drained of his previous confidence. Cassandra followed closely behind with 2 heavy suitcases, looking equally miserable. I retreated inside and only opened the heavy wooden door. After securing the metal safety chain, Darren demanded to know why his corporate cards were declined and why his keys no longer worked. I informed him through the narrow opening that his access was permanently revoked because the assets belonged exclusively to me. Cassandra tried to plead for a temporary loan until they sorted out their situation, but I firmly reminded her that my retirement was not their romantic allowance. I slipped a thick legal package through the door crack, containing divorce petitions and an urgent asset preservation order. His expression turned completely hollow as he realized I had already secured expert legal representation. At that exact moment, 2 patrol cars arrived on the scene, and the officers firmly instructed Darren to leave the premises immediately. He was forced to retreat into the waiting taxi. Over the following weeks, Eleanor and I systematically organized every financial statement, forged document, and unauthorized lease agreement. When our scheduled court date arrived, we presented our findings to the presiding judge in a quiet and highly organized manner. The legal representative of Darren tried to portray me as a bitter spouse seeking petty revenge, but the actual data quickly shattered their defense. The judge verified the forged signatures and ruled that my properties and capital remained solely in my possession. She ordered Darren to make full financial restitution and officially referred the forgery evidence to state investigators for potential criminal prosecution. Darren confessed to the unauthorized transfers under oath, while Cassandra quietly admitted she knowingly accepted the stolen funds. Their grand escape ended in absolute legal ruin. My divorce was finalized a few months later, and the business belonging to Darren soon collapsed under the weight of his mounting debts. I focused my energy on hosting volunteer financial literacy workshops for women who were recovering from difficult domestic separations. Teaching others how to secure their own financial freedom helped me rebuild my own sense of peace and purpose in a world that had once felt so unstable. When Darren tried to message me months later begging for a conversation, I simply deleted the notification and permanently blocked his contact. I had finally recovered my peace of mind, which was the most valuable asset he could never truly take from me. If this story of justice inspired you, please subscribe to the channel for more powerful accounts of courage and second chances.